On June 23, 2016, the Utah Court of Appeals issued its decision in Ford v. Ford, a divorce case. The link to that case is provided here, as well as in the description for this video report. Ford served his ex-wife, Ms. Tun, with discovery requests after discovery had closed. Tun responded to those requests and served Ford her own discovery requests. Ford ignored Tun's requests. Tun sent Ford a letter reminding him of the requests and extending the time frame within which he could respond before she would file a motion seeking to have his pleadings stricken as a sanction under Rule 37 of the Utah Rules of Civil Procedure. Ford did not respond, and Tun filed a motion to strike Ford's pleadings. The district court conducted an evidentiary hearing on June 26, 2014, and first addressed Tun's motion to strike. Ford argued he had ignored Tun's request because she had submitted them outside the time allowed by the Rules of Civil Procedure and had not requested an extension from the district court, and because Tun was only allowed 10 requests for admission under Rule 26, not the 12 she submitted. The trial court noted that Ford himself had served untimely discovery requests on Tun, requests to which she had responded. The district court also noted that Ford's failure to respond put Tun at an unfair disadvantage in preparing for trial. The district court offered Ford a choice. It would grant him a continuance with time to respond to the discovery requests if Ford would pay Tun's attorney's fees expended in seeking discovery and preparing for trial. Alternatively, it would grant Tun's motion and strike Ford's pleadings. Ford rejected the court's offer, and the district court struck Ford's pleadings without prejudice and in accordance with Rule 36, deemed Tun's request for admissions admitted. Paul Ford appeals the district court's order imposing sanctions for his failure to respond to his ex-wife's discovery requests. The Court of Appeals affirmed the trial court decision. Remember, the parties' arguments and the appeal court's analysis were based upon the pre-year 2011 versions of Rules 26 and 37 of the Utah Rules of Civil Procedure. Ford first claims that he had no obligation to respond to Tun's discovery requests because the number of Tun's discovery requests exceeded the number of requests allowed under Rule 26C5 of the Utah Rules of Civil Procedure, and also because her requests were served late. Rule 36 of the Utah Rules of Civil Procedure requires parties to respond to requests for admission, and that a request for admission is deemed admitted unless within 20 days after service of the request, the responding party responds in writing. Rule 36 further provides that unless a party objects to a matter, the party must admit or deny the matter or state in detail the reasons why the party cannot truthfully admit or deny. And any reason for objection not stated is waived unless excused by the court for good cause. By simple operation of Rule 36A, parties who ignore requests for admission do so at their own peril. Accordingly, the district court did not err when it determined that Ford was required to respond to Tun's requests for admission. Indeed, it did not have discretion to rule otherwise. Ford chose to ignore Tun's discovery requests because he believed that they were not proportional to the case and because they were 8 months late. But if Ford wished to challenge Tun's requests, he was required to object in writing. Alternatively, Ford could have moved the court to amend or withdraw the newly admitted material once it was deemed admitted. Ford's argument that the untimeliness of Tun's discovery requests provided him with good cause not to respond was not persuasive to the district court or to the Court of Appeals. While Ford did not argue that the district court abused its discretion when it failed to find good cause for Ford's refusal to respond to Tun's request for admission, for the reasons stated above, the Court of Appeals did not find any basis to believe the district court abused its discretion and held that under the circumstances, the district court acted well within its authority in concluding that Ford was obligated to respond to Tun's discovery requests. Ford next argued that the district court abused its discretion when it sanctioned him, quote, for not responding to discovery that was not allowed by the rules, close quote, by striking his pleadings and deeming the request for admission to be admitted. Ford asserts that the sanctions are unduly harsh. Rule 37B authorizes the court, upon motion and within its discretion, to strike, quote, all or part of the pleadings, quote, deemed the matter or any other designated facts to be established in accordance with the claim or defense, close quote, and order the party or the attorney to pay the reasonable costs, expenses, and attorney's fees caused by the failure to respond. And district courts have broad discretion in selecting and imposing sanctions for discovery violations. Furthermore, appellate courts may not interfere with such discretion unless abuse of discretion is clearly shown. A trial court's abuse of discretion in selecting which sanction to impose may be shown only if there is an erroneous conclusion of law or no evidentiary basis for the trial court's ruling. The district court did not err in concluding that Ford violated Rule 36 of the Utah Rules of Civil Procedure. The Court of Appeals held that the facts of the Ford case supported the district court's choice of sanctions. Under these circumstances, the district court's choice of sanctions was not harsh, as Ford claims, but even if it were harsh, a district court may impose a harsh sanction on a party and still not abuse its discretion. As the Utah Supreme Court emphasized, although some of Rule 37's discovery sanctions are harsh and extreme, an appellate court will not interfere with the trial court's imposition of discovery sanctions unless an appellant clearly shows the trial court abused its discretion. Here, the trial court did not abuse its discretion by striking Ford's pleadings without prejudice after Ford failed to respond to Tun's request for admission, when Tun had responded to Ford's own untimely request for admissions, and when the district court offered Ford a way out, which he refused to take.